Hi, Adele. I think you're muted. Perfect. Now I hear you. Alrighty, so as Adele gets all settled over there, I just wanted to welcome our attendees joining live. Looks like we already have quite a few joining. So we'll give it another moment before we officially begin, but as everyone's popping in, hi Paulette, yeah, feel free to use the chat if you do have questions. I believe you guys are all muted automatically, which will be perfect just so that we can keep audio in control for this juicy session. If you aren't muted, please do mute yourself, other than, of course, our guest expert, Adele. So this is an ongoing series that Adele will be leading us through. Adele, I'm so excited for you to be leading this. Over the past few months, I have been hosting a podcast and a video interview series interviewing different experts, practitioners, and something that I keep hearing from our community is how practitioners are transitioning into becoming more so really behavioral coaches for their clients. I mean, a lot of our attendees joining now, or either whether you're watching the replay, are really needing to step into more of a role of coaching clients through a mindset capacity. And so I think that you're just the perfect person to bring in here, Adele, because not only you have a background as being a holistic nutritionist, but Adele is actually really she's a cognitive behavioral therapist, an expert in psychology, neuroscience, and so she now not only helps clients, but she's really taking a lead to lead other practitioners so that they can better lead themselves and therefore clients. So this is going to be a 6-part series. And so I think today we'll probably keep it quite introductory as to, the kind of work that you do and give people the sort of framework before we dive in. And with that, I guess I'll pass it over. And if you have I'll be monitoring questions. Maybe to make sure to respect your time, I'll pop in at 2:30 and we'll just kind of wrap things up. And then at that point, we can see if there's any questions.
Sure.
Is that good to you, Adele?
That sounds good. And we can share the opportunity for people to dive deeper with this work, with the course that I'm doing that we talked about as well.
Perfect. Yes. So make sure we speak about that. And if you guys have questions about Adele's more in-depth offering at any time, I'll be monitoring the chat questions.
Okay, great. So I wanted to start by saying thanks for having me. I just came off, I feel like I've been on a webinar masterclass binge for the last few weeks. And, I laugh because I say it in that I just, first of all, I want to acknowledge everyone on here in that if you're a health professional or you're in the realm of health or mindset, I mean, we are called now at such a deep level to be doing this work. I can't tell you, since COVID started, like I've never been busier. In fact, I'm like, it's almost like needing to actually prioritize what's happening, because it just shows you that without the right kind of mindset, nothing matters. I mean, nothing really matters unless you know how to master your psychology. So let me take it like a couple steps back just to kind of get everyone aware of who I am and what I do and all that kind of fun stuff. So like Kiki said, I'm a trained holistic nutritionist through IHN, but my background was I went to McGill University for a degree in neuroscience. I have a master's in that, and then I did nutrition, and I was always very fascinated with the brain and behavior. I have a background in working with eating disorders. That's kind of how I started into this world. And then I created my own weight loss program. And what I really noticed in being in the health and wellness world for, I would say, almost 20 years now, I don't like to date myself that much, but it's true. What I noticed was, like, it's not enough when you graduate as a health practitioner in any way, dietitian, naturopath, whatever. No, people know what to do and they're not doing it. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that there has to be a component of understanding human behavior and understanding yourself and your clients as to why is it that they know that they need to do this and they're still not doing it. So that became my secret obsession, and not so secret really, but my obsession over the last, I would say, over a decade has been to understand the deeper layers of our mind. And we'll go into that in our 6-part series, but like deeper layers of the subconscious mind, understanding why we're patterned the way we are, understanding why our clients and our patients are going to come to us with very similar situations, understanding how as you heal yourself, you heal others. And I want to go into that for a little bit, because I always say that when I was practicing, and I had a brick and mortar practice based for 10 years as a plus coach, but predominantly nutrition and cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness. So I created something called the Tevlin method, because I really understood that it wasn't enough to tell people to eat apples and avocados. I mean, everybody knows that. And it's like what they're paying you for, and what there is actually to help them navigate moving through all the resistance that shows up for people. Like all the resistance that shows up for people as they take on a goal. And I think I did this with you in our last session here the other day, whatever day that was. I'm like, what day is it really, honestly? Like for real. And I think it's Thursday. So anyway, at some point, Kiki and I had another session with her group, and it was phenomenal. And I drew this little diagram because I want to show this to you. I always have my whiteboard because I'm very visual. But I want you to, as I speak and draw things on the board, I want you to relate this not only to yourself, but the people that you're going to be serving, your clients, your patients. So what I mean by that is, so people aren't hiring you to tell them what to eat or what supplements to take, because quite frankly, you can find that on Google, okay? And yes, you have more expertise, but what they're hiring you for, and you need to get this because this is gonna be what makes you very successful at anything you do, is that you're there to help push through the resistance that shows up in their life. You're there to help them push through the excuses that show up in their life. You're there to help to be a champion and to help them break through those barriers that are going to show up. Because one thing is for certain is that when you set a goal, whether that's losing weight, gaining weight, starting a business, making more money, attracting love, whatever that desired goal is, when you set the goal and the intention, one of the laws of the universe called the law of polarity will always bring you the opposite of what you want. It's a counter intention. And I talk a lot about this, and we can bring this into our 6-part series, which is like the universal laws of like how they actually work with mathematical exactitude. But when you set a goal, the opposite of your goal will show up. And it's to test you. So when your client says, I want to lose 30 pounds, and you give them the best protocol, like they're so motivated, and then 3 weeks in, you can't find them. It's because they have been met with a level of resistance. We'll call that the ego, the part of your brain that wants to keep you safe and the same. We'll dive more into that as well. Their ego will always be higher and louder than their intuition and higher self in that moment. And that's where, as practitioners, we can truly make a difference, is to actually help people see, wait a minute, why are you disappearing? Like, you had that goal. What happened there? Let's actually figure out what happened there. So let me kind of explain for a second. And let me know, Kiki, if you can see this properly. My black marker ran out, so I'm hoping the blue will, yeah, actually the blue's good. So here's Mr. Sticky. You guys are gonna get to know Mr. Sticky in our 6 weeks together. And this is not like, this drawing is actually modeled by Dr. Thurman Fleet in the 1900s. So it's actually a really prominent little drawing, but I think it's such a great basic illustration of what's going on. So this is the mind, and over here you've got the conscious mind, and below is you've got the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind, so the conscious mind is the part of your mind that is your thinking mind. It's the part of you that thinks and reasons and problem solves, and you're listening to this and you're thinking, I agree or I disagree. It's the part of your mind that's very, very focused on critical thinking. The thing about the conscious mind that's important to understand is that it has the ability to both accept and reject information. So you could be like watching the news and something's happening, on the news about COVID, and you accept it or you reject it or you have an opinion or a judgment. So that's all happening at the level of the conscious mind. So it has the ability to both reject and accept information. Otherwise said, it has the ability to choose your thoughts and choose what you focus on. So this is really important because human beings, as far as we know, are the only species on the planet that has the ability to choose. Most other animals don't have the ability to choose because we have a conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that it stores all the information that's ever happened to you, and it regulates everything going on in your body, like digestion and your heartbeat. You don't have to remember how to tie your shoes every day. It's where all your patterns and habits are stored, okay? So what's important to understand here is that the subconscious mind does not have the ability to reject information. It only accepts everything as fact. So it everything. You might want to be making some notes here. So why is this important? Well, one of my favorite sayings ever, by the way, I'm wearing a Wonder Woman t-shirt today. Okay, good. One of my favorite sayings is that what you don't consciously reject, you subconsciously accept. What you don't consciously reject, you subconsciously accept. Meaning that, oh, it's saying my video is glitching. I don't know.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't seem to be happening for me. So it might actually, Julie, it might be your internet connection.
Yeah, I can see myself. Good. So what you don't consciously reject, you subconsciously accept. What that means is, oh, it's glitchy for people there too.
Oh no. You know what? I mean, all we can do is keep on keeping on. You're good for me, Adele. And worst comes to worst, I know the recording for this will be clear because Zoom is always good for that.
Yeah. So what I mean, so why that's important is that when you think about like all the information that's around us all the time, if we're not aware of what we're focused on, we will get a bunch of information that we're not consciously accepting, okay? So what's really important to understand about this so far is that the conscious mind has the ability to accept and reject. The subconscious mind accepts everything unless you consciously choose not to. The other piece is that the conscious mind tells us what to think, and the subconscious mind tells us how to think. So I want you to think about this for yourself, and even for some of the clients or patients you have. Ever notice how some people worry no matter what, or some people are worst case scenario, or some people are all or nothing, or some people are glass half full or glass half empty, no matter what's going on out here? The how they think about what they see, because that's what the subconscious mind is constantly filtering, how you think about what you see. So it's the lens with which you see the world. This explains why so many people get stuck in vicious patterns and cycles, because they will literally get a result in their life, okay? They'll see that result with their eyes. Their conscious mind will tell them what to think about it, and it's being filtered with how they think about what they see. So it's almost like irrelevant what's going on outside, because how they think about what they see is programmed into them very early on. This is why you see people that struggle with the same thing over and over again, because they're running a pattern over here. And we're going to dive deeper into this in our following sessions on why and how and when that got developed and how we can reprogram that, because that's the work that I do, is all about how do we start to shift that at the level of belief, because here's where all your beliefs are about the world. There's not enough time, there's not enough money. Like if you're dealing with debt, you have a belief called there's not enough, period. And you can change that. I mean, that is the work. Is actually, we know that the subconscious mind from a neuroscientific perspective is extremely malleable and open to change, but it has to happen through a certain way called repetition over time, okay? And that's kind of the work. But this in a nutshell just shows you that you've got these two aspects of mind. The conscious mind tells you what to think, the subconscious mind tells you how to think, and it's always being filtered by what's happening in your external reality, your circumstances. So if your circumstances are that I don't have money, you will literally scan for evidence to support that view. Or if your circumstance is, I'm not in the best body I've wanted or the best health, it's because you have a belief around your health or around money. Because it's like one big vicious loop there. So let me take this kind of one step further around what I mentioned about the goal. So now you've got Mr. Stick. And this is your subconscious mind. And over here, you've got your desire or what you really want. So for you, it might be something, and for your client, it might be that they really want to finally find that perfect level of health. So always bring it to yourself and the people that you're serving. So on one side, they have their desire. I like to put it like a heart, because it's like your heart's desire for yourself. And on this other part of your subconscious mind, you have this idea of safety. It's called your subconscious paradigm. We're going to go deeper into all of this as we go. I'm just giving you guys a framework, and we're going to distill it all a lot more as we go. So what's happening at the level of the subconscious, what you need to understand here is you're constantly in a fight between what you really want and staying safe. So I'm going to say that again, because you might want to write that down. What you and everyone else that has a subconscious mind is you're always in a fight between what you truly desire and staying safe. So why is, well, our subconscious houses our limbic system, our fight or flight reptilian brain. It's also where your ego resides. The ego is the part of you that's part of that limbic system. It's the most primordial aspect of your brain, and it has two functions. One is to keep you safe and alive, and the other is procreation. That's it. So our entire childhood, this idea of safety was necessary. It's one of our basic needs, because if you don't get safety from mom and dad, you die. Like, it's that simple. So we have a very deep programming to stay safe. So listen, I invite you to actually look in your life right now, like look at all the ways that we do this, by the way, until we actually learn how to not do this, until we have a level of awareness about this. All the things you do in your life to stay safe. The people you hang out with, the job you have, the house you live in, the partner you have, everything is about being safe. Not pushing that boundary too much. Staying in, we call it comfort zone. But on the other side of your subconscious mind, which is innate in you, it's part of your beingness, is this desire. It's your soul's expression and your purpose being manifested in the world. Kiki has her, it's like a unique fingerprint. She has hers, I have mine, and every one of you on this has theirs. And that desire wants to be expressed in the world so badly. In fact, the universe wants you to express your desire more than you want to, because it's why you're here at this time. But you're always fighting against this need to be safe. And it's happening subconsciously. You don't know what's happening. You think you're actually taking action, but why you're being stopped all the time is because you don't feel safe. So what that looks like is, imagine this is like an imaginary little line, and that everything over here is safe, and everything on this side is beyond your comfort zone. Like, this is kind of like stepping into. So let's say you have your desire, otherwise known as your goal, and you're moving towards, you're trying to achieve that goal, and you really get close here. Okay, it's still safe. And then you go over here, it starts to feel unsafe. So what happens when it starts to feel unsafe? By the way, when I say unsafe, I don't actually mean like you've got a knife to a gun to your head, a knife to your head. I mean, like, I can't tell you how many people I used to work with. Like, I mean, I've seen probably thousands of clients over my 15-year career, but who, the minute they would start to lose weight, would start to feel unsafe. Why? Well, maybe they had trauma, and that weight was a way to keep themselves safe. And they don't consciously understand why they keep hitting that barrier of every time they lose 10 pounds, that's where they stop. Because it's not subconsciously safe for them to lose weight. Not consciously. Consciously they want to, but your subconscious is feeding your conscious mind how to think. So it's literally like it's like the generator. It's the most important aspect of the mind. So when you start to go closer to your goal and you surpass it, and this starts to feel unsafe, what happens, and this is for any goal. This is for everything. This is a money goal. That's why people have they call it like a ceiling. Like it's like almost like that set point. You know how we have like a physical set point, we have an emotional set point, we have a financial set point. Like I have people say like I can't break past 200,000 or I can't. It's because you have a belief or a set point. There's something unsafe about 300,000 to you. So you start to move here. And then you feel unsafe. So what happens, and I'll tell you a funny story after about how valid this is. Something happens in your life. It shows up like urgent. So something urgent happens. To get your attention. So something in your life circumstance happens. It's urgent to get your attention, and it starts to push you back towards feeling safe. So I'll give you an example. And I'm sure you can already start to think of those things in your life. So you're working towards your goal. You're getting to this comfort zone. You move past it. And then wham, something happens. So you either get sick or somebody you know gets sick, or like, so it's funny. So I'll give you a story of one of the girls in one of my group programs. I did this aspect of the course, and she had just started a new job that was drumming up a lot of that safety stuff and a lot of those, because it was a bigger job than she's ever had. It's more money, whatever. Literally on day 2 of the job, after we did this lecture, she woke up and her arm was paralyzed out of nowhere. Like she couldn't feel her arm. And she emailed me. She's like, is this what you're talking about? I'm like, exactly. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Her arm was fine. She iced it. It was nothing. It was just, this is the subconscious mind, the ego, keeping you safe. So it'll get your attention in forms of physical manifestations, in terms of illness, in terms of someone else in your family all of a sudden needs you to do something, and it moves you back into safety so that you don't go ahead and accomplish that goal. You understand this principle, it'll change your life, because you will then, Julie just wrote, oh my God, this is the type of thing that's happening before COVID. Yeah, exactly. You're going to see this everywhere now. I mean, the beauty of this work is that it's kind of like when you bring it out of the blind spot into your attention, you then start to see, oh my God, like I set this goal, I started moving, bam, I had to take care of my mom. Bam, my son got a fever. Bam, I broke my car insurance. Bam, oh no, I have to do a renovation. Like it's just all that shit that shows up, and you start to see it for what it is, so it doesn't take you out. That's the thing. If you let life take you out, you will never achieve your desire. You have to be greater than your circumstances. You have to consciously choose what you accept in your mind and reject what you don't want. You have to start to get really clear on what it is that you're here for. What is that deep burning desire in your heart, in your soul? And you need to move with tenacity and with intestinal fortitude towards that goal, and not allow all that resistance to take you out. Because that same resistance that takes you out is what takes your clients out. It's why they don't come back for sessions. It's why they drop off. I mean, I can't tell you over the years how many people would buy a package like for a lot of money and then would literally disappear because they got so triggered and something happened, and then they just took themselves out. And I promise you that all of you right now have, I call this a sabotaging strategy. Everyone here has a sabotaging strategy. So a little piece of homework for you guys, because I always like to give you guys things to think about, is start to think about ways that you take yourself out. Start to think about the sabotaging strategies that happen when you start to go a little bit beyond your comfort zone. Start to think about, like Julie just shared, like what's happening to you through COVID. I mean, COVID is just, the stress of COVID as an external stressor is nothing more than a shining a light where we're strong and where we're weak as humanity. Like where we're strong in our healthcare, where we're weak, where we're strong in our business, where we're weak, where we're strong in our relationship, where we're weak. It's just a magnifying glass. And it's triggering our limbic system and our fight or flight reaction because it's making us feel unsafe. So think about that. You've got this aspect of your mind that's always making you try to find safety. And now we're never feeling safe because we have COVID. So think how much harder you need to work towards your goal. I'm like, you know, this is the thing as like where I'm different than some people in my line of work or the community of personal growth and development. Like I'm very honest with people that you know, even when people talk about, because I teach manifestation and all that stuff too, but you have to understand it's grounded in science. Like there's nothing esoteric. And when people just say, think about it and it'll happen, they're wrong. You have to take action. You have to take action on your desire. You have to think about it. You have to feel into it and you have to take action. But when you're paralyzed by fear because you're always feeling unsafe, you can't take action. And then people wonder why they're stuck. They're stuck in their body. They're stuck in their mindset. They're stuck in their income goal. They're stuck in the marriage. They're constantly feeling stuck because they can't think their way through the problem properly. So this work that we're going to do together is going to be about dismantling like all those ways that the subconscious mind keeps us safe. It's about actually learning how to navigate uncertain times and building that resilience, right? Like it's about understanding and seeing things for what it really is, not for the fear, right? It's understanding what is my higher self telling me versus what is my ego telling me, because you're always in a battle. So does that make sense so far?
Totally. I have a question if you don't mind. I
Yeah.
think that it'll extend on what you're saying. But when you say like you need to see it for what it really is so that you don't let like life take you out. I love that.
Yeah.
How do you know that it's like not, you know, a test from the universe versus your intuition, like kind of guiding you and protecting you in a way? Do you know what I mean? Like there's a fine line between, oh, like I'm feeling, you know, rough in my stomach. Is this because deep down this isn't the right path for me?
Yeah.
Or is this because this is a test because I'm about to up level? How do you know which one's which?
Oh my God. Such a great question. Yeah. I get this one a lot. Okay. So I would give this, it's like a two-part answer. So one is you have to ask yourself, what is it that I truly desire? What do I really want? Like, what's that goal? And you want to work with one thing at a time. Like, this isn't like, I want this and I want this. No, it's like the one thing that right now you really desire. Okay. And let's say over here, this is where you are now relative to the goal. So these are called levels of awareness, okay? Levels of awareness. So what happens is, here you are, and you want to basically moving up towards your goal, like these steps. So what happens is that so you have to, step one is you have to decide something in order to move up the ladder. So the first thing that always needs to come, so this is like a two-part answer, but part one is this. So you need to decide something. Yeah, the law of polarity is what Adele mentioned. When was that? Did I mention that today? Oh.
Yeah, the previous question, because someone asked what was the universal law you were talking about. And I know I've been on so many of your webinars. I'm like, she mentioned so many, but I'm pretty sure the one that you were mentioning today in this
was
the universal law of polarity. So.
Yeah, the law. Yeah, so we'll talk about different universal laws as we go. I don't want you guys to drink from a fire hose, which is typically what it feels like. So don't worry, you're going to get all of it, but I'm giving it to you in little specific pieces. So you want something. Let's say you want to make a certain, let's give it a number, okay? Let's say you want to make $1 million. And right now you're making $100,000. Because I like numbers because it's actually easy for you to understand. at $100,000, you don't know how to make $1 million. That's why you're not making $1 million. Plug in any number that you actually want and then where you're at now. Be honest with yourself. What's the most you've ever made and what do you really want to make? So when you're making 100, you don't know how to make $1 million. So what happens, how do you get to over here, which is like, let's say, call it 200,000? Well, you need to decide something first. So first, it always starts with a decision. So you need to decide, well, my decision is I'm going to start an online program, or I'm going to get rid of that person, or I'm going to hire somebody, or I'm going to go and actually build a brick. Like, you need to make a decision about something. Once you decide something, the how or the opportunity shows up to bring you to this level of awareness of how to make 200,000. This is very important to understand, because most people, this is like a law of cause and effect too. Most people think that they're going to wait for that opportunity to show up before they decide. That's why people are broke. I'm going to wait to have money before I can work with you. That's not how it works. You have to work with me to learn how to make money. You need to work with me so that, but people are like, show me the certainty, safety, but actually you have to decide. Then the how, which is usually an opportunity, person, place, or thing, shows up to show you how to make 200. So then you make 200 for a while and then you decide something else. Then how, opportunity shows up to bring you to 3, 4, then to $1 million. So I say this to answer part one of Kiki's question is, for a lot of people, when they're moving towards their goal and it's a big one and it's scary, opportunities will always show up disguised as what they don't want. I didn't get where I am in my career because I didn't take opportunities. Now, was I guided by my intuition versus is this right or wrong? Absolutely, but you always know the difference. If you're quietly honest with yourself, you have to go, is that opportunity in line with the desire? So let's say, for example, my desire to make $1 million, and something shows up in my awareness and it's like, go start a whole other business. I mean, well, that might be a distraction, but if it's in line with how I'm going to make $1 million in my business, then I take the opportunity. That's how I've gotten in my life. Like every coach that showed up or every opportunity showed up at the right time for me to move up a rank in my business. Julie's saying she doesn't understand what what I don't want. What do you mean by that? Like it might show, opportunity shows up disguised as what you don't want. Is that what you mean? Okay. Oh, okay. Great example. So you want something, like you want to make $1 million. I'm just using that as an example because why not have high aspirations? Exactly. But you don't want to fucking spend any money to get to $1 million. You think that's going to happen for free. That's your biggest problem. So what it shows up like is a coach calls an opportunity to work with someone like Kiki or myself or someone else. And you're like, oh, I don't have the money to do that. Sorry. You know what happens in that moment? You go back down because energy always originates to its source. You never stay the same. Like energy is always in motion. So you're either moving forward or backwards. So when you say no, when you ask the universe for something and it shows up as a person opportunity to move you up and you say, I can't afford it, you literally go back down. So it always shows up like something you don't want because you want it for free. And nothing in life is free. Not if you want to be super successful. I'm talking about, I'm working with you guys like you're going to be very, like achieving greatness. I'm not talking about mediocrity. If you want mediocrity, you don't need to be on this podcast or webinar. I'm talking about the people that are going to be up here. So opportunity shows up like an inconvenience. It shows up like money. It shows up like, oh, I have to go do that thing. Like it doesn't show up like a unicorn, like, or exactly what you want, like 500,000 from the sky. It shows up like I have to invest time or money or resources or something. It's called the law of sacrifice. You have to let go of something of a low vibration to achieve something of a higher vibration. It's always going to come at a cost in some way, but it's always going to move you up. I've seen this now more times than like it's a scientific universal truth. Like when I say truth, in universal truth, I mean like a mathematical truth. So you need to get from this that you need to decide. So to answer the second part of that question, Kiki, is, because I haven't forgotten. So one is, as long as it's in line with your desire and goal and it's moving you forward, the opportunity can sometimes mirror itself as something you don't want because it's forcing you out of your comfort zone. But it's about going, is that opportunity actually in line with moving me forward? Like, or is it like completely taking me off course? The other thing is that your ego, your fear, will always tell you not to do something, while your intuition will typically tell you what to do and how to do it. So like maybe that coach shows up or that opportunity or that course, and you don't have the money in your account right now, but you say, okay, who do I need to call to help me to do this? Or what do I need to do to create this to happen? It's the intuition will always problem solve because it wants you to move towards your desire. The fear will always take you out and tell you not to do it and all the reasons why you shouldn't. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Totally, yes. Especially, yeah, when you say the intuition will problem solve. Like, I think that's like gold. I'm writing that down.
Yeah. The intuition will tell you what to do and how to do it. So it'll be like, okay, I want to do this course. I'm committed to doing the course. I'm deciding to do the course. Decide. So then something shifts. Either you find the money or someone lends you the money or you get a new client and that pays for the course. That's the universe orchestrating itself to move you closer to your desire. It's not a coincidence. But the key element is that if I would have known this many years ago, like I can't tell you how many times I would say I can't afford it or I don't have time or all that other, because it's like, that's our go-to reaction on things. And what's shifted for me in the last, I would say, especially 5 years, is because I understand this so clearly. I literally am never like, I can't afford it. Like, I'm like, if I feel aligned with that, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make that happen. And I never don't make it happen. Not once. Like, I've never not made it happen. And I'm talking about very big financial investments to work with people. But it's always up-leveled me. So then I could then charge more for my services. Like, I've invested at least 6 figures into myself from a personal development perspective, but it's why I'm able to generate what I make. If I didn't do that, I would still be making $17 an hour like I did when I started in this industry. So opportunities often come disguised as what you don't want, because it forces you to actually have to invest time, resources, or money.
Thank you so much, Adele. And we're coming up to time now. I want to be respectful of your time. Perhaps if anyone else has any or final questions, and then maybe as those come through, I do just want to let everyone know that this is a 6-part training, as Adele mentioned. So we'll be back next month. It's going to always be the 4th Thursday of every month. And then Adele, maybe do you want to just mention your own more intensive program for those that are interested?
Yes, for sure. So I just did a masterclass earlier about it, but basically what's happened through COVID is I was doing a live event for practitioners to help them basically go deeper into all these topics and actually help them really be successful and how to actually really make a difference with their clients. I've now made that a 4-week online program, like a virtual experience. And I ran my first 4-week program. I just finished, and it was massively transformative because it's once a week with me for 90 minutes, going very deep into all these concepts. And I've priced it extremely low so that there is no barrier to entry and that people can afford it, because I literally take you through what are your own mindset blocks, what are your own limiting beliefs, your own imprints, how to navigate it, how to move through it so that you can actually achieve that which you desire. And the clarity that people got around their desires, the clarity that people got around what they're here for, and then the skills to actually move through that. So I'll put the link up here. It's basically a maximum of 40 people, and I just did the webinar for that earlier today. And it's an incredible program. So you can even just go online and even just check it out to see, but it's basically the CEO blueprint. And you can maybe send this out too for them, Kiki.co/.
I'll put it in the chat as well, and I'll send it to all participants.
Yeah, masterclass, and it's $297 for 4 weeks of training with me for 90-minute sessions. Yeah, it's like free. So it is free. So basically, there's only 40 spots, and I think I've sold half of them. So if this is something that you're interested in, please go on and look, because it'll be great in conjunction with what we're doing here with Kiki over these once-a-month things, but it's going to be a much deeper dive because I have 90 minutes, and then you're on a group chat with these people, and it's like a community, and it's pretty profound. So will I be running it again? No, this is like the last time I'm running it at that rate, and it starts on June 11th.
I was gonna say you'll probably run it again for like put a couple zeros behind those numbers.
One-on-ones with me are $15,000. So this is a free program. So basically, June 11th, all the sessions are recorded, and you have lifetime access to the recording. So if you can't make one of them live, you watch the recording, but you still have lifetime access. It starts on June 11th. That's all. If you go on the link, it'll see it. It's $297. It's amazing. So if that resonates with you, go check it out. And otherwise, I'll see you guys here, I guess, in a month, and we'll keep diving in. And I hope you guys found this valuable.
Thank you so much, Adele. I know I did. I know everyone did. Thanks everyone for joining, and we will see you again next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.